Welcome to Capri. At Capri Restaurant, Fortitude Valley, we specialize in Italian cuisine. We are fully licensed. We offer an intimate, friendly and family experience, but are also available for group bookings and functions. We have free Wi-Fi and open for lunch and dinner 6 days a week in the Emporium Center.
The AHL format that we have in Australia at the moment, have we got the AHL tournament right? Beck, the men and the women play the same format. Is it right from an athlete's perspective? Is that the best way to do it?
I enjoy it, and I think the under 13, when the girls go away with the senior team, I think they enjoy it as well, and they look up to the Queensland Scorchers or the Queensland Blades, depending on what sex is going away.
Fantastic initiative.
I think that's great, but I also feel like I think the crowds would be a lot bigger and a lot more interest would be involved if the men and women were playing at the same time or the same tournament. When I first started playing, we went away on the weekends, so we'd go to, say, Tasmania with the men, and both teams would play the Tasmanian teams, and I felt like that was really good too. We got to watch some good hockey as well, and vice versa. I don't know what. I think it's great for the 13s and their parents. They get to see what it is like at that next level, or that top level, but I also feel like it's good when the men and women are playing together and watching each other perform. And
my question is it attracting people to hockey? Is the AHL, that's our elite sport, that's the elite level in Australia, is AHL. Is the format that we've got, does it attract people to hockey the way we're running it at the moment?
I don't know if it's attracting them, and then this is really my first year of being involved after coming back from the States, but one thing that I would have thought that we wouldn't do is have men and women at different venues at the same time. That just seems to me to be totally removed from being the right format. I think Beck's point's a great one. You know, the World Cup in Holland a couple of years ago, you know, we had men and women. They still rave about the success of that, and unfortunately they mentioned it probably won't ever happen again, but you know, everyone that you speak to that was at that tournament thought it was fantastic. And to have if you know you're going to go to a capital city and they're going to have the men and women playing, that to me would draw. I'd go out and watch that, knowing that I could watch the best women play in a game, and then the best men, and the best men play, and then the best women. You're going to go and have a look at it. But where we are now, to be same weekends or same fortnights, but in different cities, I don't understand that piece, because now you're having to make a decision. Are you going to, if you are going to go, are you going to watch the women, or are you going to go and watch the men? And I don't know if that's the correct way to do it.
The other side of it as well, you've got the double setup costs. You know, the television and filming of it, the cost of the grounds, all that type of stuff is probably double cost anyway. You can do it the same at the one venue for half the price. And I had the opportunity of playing in the New Zealand League 5 or 6 times and that type of thing, and they play men and women together. And even when they were doing it the old way, where we were travelling around the first 3 or 4 weekends, we'd still travel together. It just creates that nice atmosphere to be playing in. As players, you enjoy it more, and I think as spectators you would as well.
I think it also, sorry.
I was going to say, so does it cost for a player to play in the AHL nowadays? So Beck, does it cost you to play?
Not in the Queensland team, but other states, yes.
Yeah.
So when you say as a cost, that it doesn't cost you, you've got to give up your full-time employment for that period of time.
Yes.
That's a cost. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's a cost that's not.
That's one thing that's changed in my time. It never cost the players, you know, back when I was sort of managing. So it costs now. So that's one. It's got to be a barrier.
There are other ways, and Brent alluded to it, where your costs are also in the management of the team. So if you've got 2 Queensland teams going to one venue, you only need the one video person. You don't need 2 video people. You know, you might get away with one physio. You know, you're starting to cut down on what your resources are required to outlay funding for, and it is the $1 million question: is how much does it cost to take a team away? And if there's ways in which that we can, you know, reduce costs and therefore may reduce fees further down that people aren't paying as much, then there's a flow-on effect from it. But you know,
shouldn't cost our players.
No.
That's
not at that level. Not at that level. Like, I used to look up and go, I can't wait to get the uniform and not have to pay to go away.
Yeah, and not
18s,
even
21s.
Be in your thought process.
Yeah, no.
You know, can I afford to go away?
Yeah.
How does it get funded, Sharon?
Well, the way. That's a big, deep question for me. But I mean, it used to be funded So maybe a priority needs to be put back on the table as a priority of how can we actually look at it, making sure it doesn't cost the players again.
There's more money coming into our sport now than there ever has.
You know more than I know.
Yeah, well,
I don't know.
you look at the resources that are being used, and there is so much money in our sport. Now, again, if you look at, and I'm not saying it's ill-directed, the funding, but maybe it does take, where are the priorities for what we need to be spending this money on? And with the removal of the AIS concept, the highest level that now Hockey Australia are responsible for their own funding from the Sports Commission, that again puts some pretty close focus on how they're using their funds. And across the board, I think we can look at obviously raising revenues the best way to go about it, rather than cutting resources. But I don't have an answer to your question. How do we raise that revenue?
Well, I think some of that responsibility got thrown back on the players, and Beck might pick up on this one, but the players actually had some fundraising, and they did quite a few fundraising events for the sheer purpose of trying to help subsidise the costs of the AHL. Is that right?
It was 2 or 3 years ago. I'd been in it for a while in the Queensland Scorchers, and we heard that we had to pay for it. It was a $2.5 grand trip, and I was just like, no, this is not happening. We can't afford to do that. So a few of us put our heads together, and we decided to have a massive big cocktail fundraising function. It was an awesome event. Lots of people came. We raised lots of money. But again, we had to organise everything. So on top of working full-time, training full-time, we were organising a fundraising event, getting donations, getting sponsorship, on top of that, to try and pay for our trip. And it was exhausting. It was fun and it was a success, but it was so exhausting. And at the end of the day, I think most people we got about $800 off the trip. So we still had to fork out some money to pay for us to go away on the trip, which shouldn't be happening at top level.
Welcome to Capri. At Capri Restaurant, Fortitude Valley, we specialize in Italian cuisine. We are fully licensed. We offer an intimate, friendly and family experience, but are also available for group bookings and functions. We have free Wi-Fi and open for lunch and dinner 6 days a week in the Emporium Center.